Now, if I did a good job at explaining this, you understand that your conscious intellectual brain knows why the anxiety and insomnia is there, the fight or flight. Yet it is your emotional unconscious brain that still believes you are in the midst of a physical threat and needs to be ready to defend yourself. While this is happening, your body is circulating corticoids, steroids, adrenaline, a plethora of hormones getting you ready to fight or run to save your life. It's normal that without this understanding, you would compound the situation by being further upset with yourself, thinking it's stupid that you can't sleep. This would be a self-put-down. Our goal is to bring the emotional unconscious brain up to date to agree with the conscious intellectual brain. In other words, let your subconscious brain know that as you're lying there in bed, that there is nothing you want to run from or fight, and that you can relax and sleep and be free of anything attacking you physically as you sleep. I once brought a cuckoo clock home, and after I had fallen asleep, my subconscious awakened me when it heard the cuckoo clock cuckoo. Even though my conscious brain heard the cuckoo clock cuckoo earlier that day, my subconscious wasn't yet educated. So my subconscious awakened me. Uh-oh, there's a strange sound. Could be a threat. Of course, I awakened only to realize that it was a cuckoo and said to myself, I'd like to sleep through the cuckoo. This, in a way, is my conscious bringing my unconscious brain up to date. After a few more checks by my subconscious waking me up, it eventually got the message that the cuckoo wasn't a threat and let me sleep. This is your goal, and because your subconscious has a long history of perceiving a physical threat, there's more of a challenge than if we simply bring the cuckoo clock into your home. The biggest mistake you can make is to get upset with yourself, for now that you understand the goal, you probably create an expectation that you'll be able to do this basic chore and get on with sleeping, or maybe you're thinking that this is an oversimplification, there's got to be more to it than this. One lady had trouble sleeping because the steam pipe in her bedroom made noises during the night. I mentioned to her that some of us live near airports, train tracks, and never hear the airplanes or trains go by. The subconscious can adjust, as the cuckoo example, at which time it becomes only a part of the background noise. She insisted that the only reason she took the apartment was because it was in the rear of the building, away from street noises, and she felt cheated that she had to deal with these noises in the pipes. In part, her attitude wasn't helping the matter. She didn't want to accept that there was something beyond her control, something beyond her sphere of influence. In her mind, she was paying for a quiet apartment, and all the explanations in the world about how steam heat works and how it does make noises didn't make a difference to her. She was unwilling to accept the noise in the first session. In our second session, we talked about when she first remembered noise being a problem. It was when she was a child. It was often noisy with her parents arguing at night. She could never go to sleep with the arguing because she was fearful that her angry stepmother would hurt her father, which would be a threat to her family status. Now, many decades later, the steam pipe keeps her on edge. Of course, she didn't feel physically threatened by the steam pipes. She felt physically threatened as a little girl by the noise her parents made and feared for her dad's safety. Slightly a different reference, but still the same goal, and if it weren't for her attitude about paying for a quiet apartment in the first place, we could have had success in just one session. With this issue, though, we had to take a look at the Serenity Prayer and realize there are things beyond our control, about which it's impractical to try to control, like trying to fight City Hall by yourself. Sure, she was right about supposing to be in a quiet apartment, but you can't fight an old-fashioned steam furnace. Once that was handled, the essence remained the same, and that was that the subconscious perceived the noise made by the pipes as a physical threat, and the goal was to bring her unconscious mind up to date to understand that her life was not being physically threatened, and that she could simply sleep through the noise. Another woman was fearful of thunder and lightning. Her first memory was when she was a child. There was a tree outside her bedroom window, and she saw it sway widely. She was fearful that the lightning and thunder would cause the tree to hit her room, thereby a threat to her being. Today, as an adult, she has no trees outside her windows and understands that she has a misunderstanding of how storms affect trees. Yet, her subconscious mind perceives lightning and thunder as a threat, as when she was a child. 2 sessions and a few storms later, she reported success in bringing her subconscious mind up to date and that she was able to sleep through a thunder and lightning storm. If it is noises that keep you awake, and you have difficulty bringing your subconscious mind up to date, as I did with the cuckoo clock, then you'll want to think back to when you first had noise as an issue in keeping you awake and what that noise meant to you, as in the 2 previous examples. Most likely, you were afraid that if you went to sleep during the noise, something bad might happen, a threat to family or personal health. You then use this information to let your subconscious know that those conditions no longer exist in your life and that it's okay to sleep through the noise today. If you have difficulty doing this on your own, you might consider soliciting the service of a professional hypnotist, and you can contact the National Guild of Hypnosis at 603-429-9438 to find a hypnotist in your local area. Of course, you may have a completely quiet environment and wish it were only environmental sounds with which you were dealing. More about that later.